Oh, the problem is that in any walk of life, it's always the vocal minority who make all the noise. It's the Priti Patels, it's the Nadine Dorrises, it's the Dominic Raabs. It's those people who are nominally in charge, who make a lot of noise, while the other people who are doing all the work carry the can of trying to implement their crazy schemes or whatever. Academia is much the same sort of thing. Now, the issue about the Rwanda transport, we're at the point now where 16 of the 31 people who were supposed to be flown out on Tuesday are not now going to be flown out. This is a sort of capitulation simply in terms of numbers. And I have no doubt that more people are going to be withdrawn from that flight before we even get to the real legal challenges on Monday and Tuesday and the last minute prevention of that flight. There is no doubt at all in my mind that this policy is wrong. It may be under British law at the present moment that it is not strictly illegal, but the UN is clearly using those terms to describe it. Now, why did we get to this point? It's so simple. Because under the Dublin Convention, the people who were coming to Europe as refugees and who were applying for asylum were under an obligation to apply for asylum in the first country that they landed in, the first European country that they landed in. Therefore, it was very unlikely that somebody would come to Britain as the first country. They would generally go to France, and France would have to deal with them under the rubric of the Dublin Convention. Now, we are no longer in that. So we can no longer say that somebody is an illegal migrant, because how are they illegal? They are simply claiming asylum. That is not illegal. We can say, oh, well, they came here by an irregular route. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. The only irregular route would be if they'd gone through countries that were signatories to the Dublin Convention, while we were also a signatory to that. So if they'd gone through Greece, they should have been processed in Greece. I mean, this convention was deeply wrong, because what it meant was that the poorer countries in the south of Europe were taking the brunt for the waves of migrants who were coming up through Africa and across from Turkey. It was unfair on these countries, but nevertheless, that was the convention that we were signatories to. We are no longer part of that. Therefore, anybody who comes to this country and asks for asylum under the international agreements that we are part of has a right to be treated properly by our country. We should not, in fact, be transporting them elsewhere on spurious grounds that they arrived this way and didn't arrive that way. We can make our own laws, we can do our own thing, but they will in the end be judged against the international agreements that we have signed. And as far as I know, we haven't quit those international agreements, number one. Number two, our laws, as being processed by Priti Patel and Boris and Dominic Raab and Gove and all these other people, Liz Truss, these laws will be judged against a basic morality. And I think our morality is flagging at the moment. I think we are going to be judged very harshly by history. We are doing exactly what Mr. Putin is doing. We are doing exactly what people were doing in 1922 when they swapped entire communities between Greece and Turkey. And these communities were left in an appalling state because they didn't speak the language of the country they were entering. It is utterly, utterly wrong to send people to other countries on spurious grounds. If these people are criminals, then they must be treated according to our criminal system. The days of transportation have gone. If, on the other hand, we wish to give them a prize and a holiday in Rwanda, what have they done to deserve that? How did they win that lottery of life? Because if that's a lottery of life, and I'm going to have the opportunity of 5 years in the sun, I want to enter that lottery. I would love 5 years in the sun. Anyway, and the other thing which I think is important from my point of view is I've been through all this before, and I have seen how refugees cross borders. I have seen the misery that they are in. Indeed, there was a point when I lived in Greece when I favoured employing refugees simply on principle. And I did, by the way. And more than that, my partner came to Greece as a refugee and was then tortured in Greece. And I have never forgotten that. The country that should be giving somebody asylum, the country that should be welcoming somebody, actually offered torture. We are doing the same thing.